Finally, the vlog proper for Truth, Justice, and the American Way. And I'm actually really glad I waited on this one. One is because, like I mentioned, CBS All Access screwed up. I missed dialogue because the streaming service cut up watching the live broadcast. And the first fight scene was pixelated as all hell, so I couldn't tell what was going on. So yeah, I'm glad I gave it a proper viewing. The second reason is I'm glad I waited because it let me digest this one, and I watched it again with trying to keep my expectations on neutral because my expectations were super high for this one when it aired. See, not too long after I got Twitter, I heard about this woman called Lexi Alexander because everyone I followed just kept tweeting about her or retweeting her. So eventually I just said, well, I'm seeing all her stuff anyway, I'll just follow her too. And I'm glad I did because she is like an intellectual and apparently physical badass because a lot of her tweets are about training and boxing and basically beating the crap out of people. But yeah, she's just this really smart, awesome person, and I just loved reading her tweets. So yeah, and apparently I tweeted just in time to around the time started following her around the time it was announced she was going to be directing this episode. So yeah, my expectations were through the roof, and from a directing standpoint, she did a damn good job. All the shots were great. I keep going on how the cast is great, perfect tens. They brought it up to 11 in this episode. So yeah, no complaints there. The main real issue is with the writing. It's not bad. It is not bad by any means. I would even say it's better than mediocre because, like I said, the aforementioned performances and whatnot. And like I said, after this one, I saw the thing where they said I saw the interview where they make several episodes at once, or that stated that they make several episodes at once, and that made me notice, hey, a lot of these scenes just seem really rushed. I mean, there's one scene at the end where Kara's taking one of the aliens she rescued, and it just stops. It's just abrupt as hell. I almost got whiplash. So yeah. But the biggest problem is the villain's power level is just really inconsistent. And again, the first fight scene, again, I'm really got to rewatch it because it's a really good fight scene. Apparently, well, again, like I said, she's a boxer or something, so Lexi Alexander is known for action scenes, and apparently one of the things she's most famous for is she directed Punisher Warzone, which is actually a really good, pretty good movie. It's violent as all hell, but some of it's played off for laughs, and it works. I mean, kind of like Deadpool. I mean, that's going to be off topic. Never mind. But yeah, in the first fight, his armor it takes punches from Supergirl, no problem, and his laser blasts don't hurt her. Because super person laser blasts aren't going to hurt them. And again, that first fight scene was really great when I actually got to see it. Then in the final fight, the armor is getting hit with kicks and pistol whips. Well, he gets hit in the face with the butt of an assault rifle, and that knocks him down. And it wasn't Supergirl kicking him or hitting him in the face with the assault rifle. It was Alex. It was a normal human, and he just gets knocked down several times. And again, he punches Supergirl and she's knocked back. He's got Alex in a chokehold and they're both struggling for control. Oh, and I forgot to mention the lasers. I brought up the lasers first. When Supergirl is kidnapped she's knocked out by one of the lasers. The lasers things wouldn't have bothered me if just when the scene where she's captured, it was green light, because then it's obviously kryptonite, but no, it's the same white light. So yeah, first they don't work, then they work, and then when Supergirl gets out of her cell and gets Adam, the lasers are doing nothing again. And speaking of the scene where Supergirl gets captured, it's sort of a negative against the episode, but it's just so funny to me. Okay, I was willing to give the show a pass about the fact that Supergirl wasn't using her super speed, because the only time I remember, I'm willing to admit I'm wrong, the only time I remember them talking about how fast she is and when she's in the air. And it would make sense that she could go at subsonic speeds when she's in the air. So, as long as we didn't see her move super fast on land, I was just going to let that slide. Because honestly, the super speed is the most problematic power of the super people. That's where all the plot holes come from, when you realize they could have beaten whatever bad guy in 2 seconds because they move so fast. That's why it's not as a big problem with Flash, because that's all he can do. But with the Bizarro episode, I forget if it was either Kara or Bizarro Kara, we see them move super fast on land. So that's out of the bag. And then for the Girl Who's Everything, we see Astra use super speed on land. So that's out of the bag, and I think Kara even uses it in this episode in the first fight. So, the scene where Kara's captured. Alex gets shot with a normal gun. It's in her bulletproof vest, so she's alive. But Kara runs over to her. And it's at normal speed, and it is the most awkward looking run I have ever seen. It's just so ridiculous. It just looks so silly. I don't know if it's because she's in costume when it happens, or the angle it was shot, or maybe she just ran funny for whatever reason, but it just looked so bizarre. And the thing is, you could say, well, they're trying to save their special effects. Super speed is one of the easiest powers to fake. All you need is a sound effect and a leaf blower. I mean, Flash does that trick all the time. You don't see Barry disappear, but suddenly there's this whoosh and papers are flying everywhere. So they could have done something to that effect and it would have worked just fine. Technically it's a plot hole or what have you, but it's just so silly, I don't care. Speaking of Alex, I mentioned in the For the Girl Who Has Everything vlog, I would love an Alex focused episode, but that was the wrong episode to do it. This would have been the perfect episode for it. The first fight scene goes a different way, and Supergirl's captured right away, and Alex spends the whole episode trying to track her down instead of like the 2 minutes they spent trying to track her down at the end. So this would have been the perfect opportunity for the Alex-focused episode. And I think that's about all the negatives I have, such as they are. Because again, I hate when I start going on the negative tirades, because I really do like the show. And this was a above average episode. There was some really great stuff here. Namely, the Master Jailer. For the most part, he was a decent villain. His costume was simple, but it looked good, and he was all business. He's not going to want anything flashy. It was a decent twist about his identity. I'll leave that out for now. I mean, it could have been handled better, maybe, but again, if I had this, just going back to the whole rushed point, this episode was very rushed. It was just as rushed as the pilot, or at least as rushed as people say. I didn't have a problem with the pilot's pacing, but that's like the biggest complaint I hear about it, is it just felt really rushed. This episode to me was the pilot. It was just zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh, but the tension so going back to the positives, the tension between Hank and Kara was perfect. It was real. And again, I mentioned in my mini vlog, the scenes at Catco just seemed really disjointed and out of place. It was back to feeling like two different shows. I don't want that to be a strike against those scenes so much, because another reason I'm glad what I got to remember this episode had a chance to digest, and I got to go over it a little more in my head. And if the Catco scenes were a normal show, just no superpowers or any sci-fi elements, about a single woman trying to make it in the big city or whatever, I would actually probably still watch it because it's still very well done. I still enjoy those scenes. It just, again, especially the scene where Kara crushes the phone because she's frustrated about the assistant. The professor, I really liked him. He was nice. His speech was a little awkward, I think, but I like that he wasn't just like, oh yes, I absolutely hate your mother, she ruined my life. He's like, yeah, I hated her at first, but I broke the law, and now I understand that doing bad things doesn't make another bad thing go away. I mean, a simple but true lesson that unfortunately I think many people in the real world need to learn. Oh, shoot. I think my dad's right. I really need to start writing talking points down, because I know there was something else specific I wanted to call out. Okay, yeah, I'm just trancing out at this point. So I guess I'll call it quits for here. Um, Overall, decent episode. Oh, I remember. James's speech about truth and justice. The name of this episode is Truth and Justice the American Way. And first, again, I'm just loving that they're using all the. I love it when they reference other versions of Superman and all the super universe. So I love that they're using taglines for episode titles. But what I loved about it, it wasn't a checklist like it typically used. It was used in a different context. And this is going to get kind of political, and I'm sorry, but I am not going to spout any opinions on this. I'm going to mention that the fact that this stuff does happen. You can like it or hate it or be mad at me for bringing it up. It does happen. James says what you're doing, talks about Kara arresting, just how Kara and Alex just arrested Max Lord, just kidnapped him basically. And he said, what you're doing, there's a difference between what you're doing and truth and justice. And they mentioned Guantanamo. So one could make an argument that what they did to Maxwell Lord at one point became the American way. It's not a checklist. They're comparing truth and justice to the American way. And again, agree, disagree. I just thought that was really clever. I thought that was really well done. And again, when I was talking about the performances being up to 11, that was probably the best scene in the entire episode. And again, I just really, nothing in this show feels forced. Well, not again. You'll see. I believe Kara and Alex would want to do that because they know Max Lord is doing these things. They know he's doing these horrible, god awful things. Again, they want him to be Lex Luthor, but so they justify locking him away. But and again, I agree with James. You can't do that. You can't play by their rules. You have to take the moral high ground. Another CBS show I really like is Elementary, and there was an episode about trying to solve the murder of who murdered two hitmen. And someone points out, it's like, why don't we just let this one go? I mean, he killed bad guys. These were horrible people. Maybe if we find out who he is, we should give him a medal. And I wish I could remember the quote better, but Sherlock says to let any murderer go, you just open the doors for all sorts of moral gray areas. Again, that's just again, I promise I'm not trying to get political, but this is something I truly believe, and it's something I need to work on. If you want to fight something, if you want to show you are right, you want to show you are the better person or on the right side of the argument, you cannot resort to the same tactics as those you are fighting against. What they were doing to Max was exactly was exactly the shady stuff he was doing. And you have to prove you're better than that, otherwise there is literally no difference. I mean, you can point out whatever cause you're supposedly standing for, but you're doing the same thing. Watch, this will be the vlog that gets all the views and flames or whatever because I dared to bring up something even remotely political. But no, that is something I really and truly believe in my heart, and that's why I love these super characters, superheroes, and other stuff like this so much, is the high moral fiber. Spider-Man tracks down killers. He refuses to kill because then he knows he would be no better. And especially in the case of Superman, Supergirl, when, they have the powers of a god, they can't be cutting corners like this. And again, I feel Kara's frustration. I understand why she's angry and why she's arguing. And I'm so glad she does the right thing in the end. It just, again, reminds me why I love the character so much. And again, as much as I've been complaining about the whole Luthor Lord thing, they cast the perfect guy for it. He is just fantastic. And one last thing, because I'm dangerously close to 20 minutes at this point, I love the very subtle Lobo reference. Good job, guys. And if you can, please bring Lobo in at some point, because that would be amazing. Okay, so that's it. I have 2 vlogs to upload. The order is going to be confusing, and I apologize for that. But, until whenever they show the next episode, maybe I'll do another super sidebar between now and then. And, only about a month to go, less than a month to go before the crossover. Yay! Take care.